Hello, and welcome to City Life. I'm Beverly Thompson, your host. Safe and secure neighborhoods are fundamental to the quality of life and economic vitality of any city, and Durham is no exception. But with an increase in violent crime in 2011, our community's leaders took action and formed the Violent Crime Reduction Roundtable. I recently met with Mayor Bill Bell to talk about the work of this group and if the strategies they put into place are working. Mayor Bell, thanks so much for sitting down to talk to us about this very important issue. I know you recently led a community session at the Holton Career and Resource Center to provide an update on the work of the Violent Crime Reduction Roundtable. Before we get started talking about the work of the group, tell me why you thought it was necessary to convene a group like this.
Well, you may or may not recall that probably towards the end of 2012, we get crime statistics quarterly from the police department, and third quarter of 2011 indicated that there was a rising increase in violent crime. I think it's about a 3% increase. And it caught my attention, and I'm always looking at trends, and obviously we want trends to be going in a downward fashion. So I thought it was appropriate to reconvene, to sit down with the appropriate persons to see what strategies we might put in place to reverse that trend that we were seeing in late 2011.
Mm-hmm. Well, Durham isn't unique in having problems with violent crime. Why was this the right time to convene such a group?
Well, you're right, and I think that's very important. Whenever we talk about crime, Durham isn't unique. I go across this country talking to different mayors and listen to some of the issues they have, and having some of the same issues that we have, even right in the region. Mm-hmm. But I felt it was appropriate at that time because what I did not want to do is to wait until the end of 2012 and suddenly found out we've had a dramatic increase in violent crime. We hadn't taken any steps to deal with it. So I thought towards the end of 2011, beginning of 2012 was an appropriate time to sit down and rethink our strategies on dealing with violent crime, particularly violent crime that involve guns and firearms.
Mm-hmm. And I know you had a press conference in January to call attention to the fact that something needed to be done. Tell us why you thought that press conference was necessary at that time.
Well, I know that our police department, the sheriff's department, law enforcement are working hard to do their jobs, mm-hmm. but sometimes the public isn't aware of that. Mm-hmm. And I thought at this particular time, while we were looking at trying to come up with strategies, we ought to bring a whole team together. Mm-hmm. And this was, in my opinion, something unique. What we did is we assembled a group that consisted of the police chief, the sheriff, the district attorney's office, chief district court judge, mm-hmm. The magistrate's office, the city manager, the county manager, the chair of the county commissioners, and myself, mm-hmm. And some neighborhood people to sit down and begin to formalize some strategies that hopefully would reverse the trend that we were seeing late in 2011 relative to violent crime.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is the report on how we're doing?
Well, if you look at the snapshot that we took, and the snapshot that we took was really a 4-month period from March of 2012 until June 30th of 2012. Mm-hmm. And we had a baseline data that we were looking at in terms of violent crime. And your audience might know that violent crime consists of homicides, rapes, assaults, and robberies. Mm-hmm. And homicides are a very small percentage of the total number of violent crimes, but it's the one that gets the most attention. Uh-huh. So what we felt was to look at the baseline data for those 4 items within violent crime, and at the end of the 4-month period, measure to see where we were. Mm-hmm. And what we reported on at the Holton Resource Center, and just about all cases, we'd seen appreciable decreases in violent crime in the particular target areas that we'd focused on. And overall, violent crime was down across the city during that period of time also.
We're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back, we'll talk more with Mayor Bell about the specific strategies being used by the Violent Crime Reduction Roundtable. We'll be right back.
Weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
Thanks for calling the GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Stiller speaking. Your level 7 in-your-face pep talk.
I can keep pushing. Believe me, I'm good at it.
Once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell him.
Mr. Trejo, can they transfer this guy to you? He needs something a little more
Persuasive.
Yes.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we've been talking with Mayor Bill Bell about the efforts of the Violent Crime Reduction Roundtable. Here's the rest of our interview with Mayor Bell as we dive into the specific crime fighting strategies. Well, let's talk about specifics on the crime fighting strategies that you had in mind. The first was to increase bail amounts for people who commit gun-related crimes, even those who are first-time offenders. What is the status of that initiative?
Well, again, this whole issue about the amount of bail bonds that we set for persons that are making their first appearance before the magistrates who have been accused of a crime involving a gun has been an issue that I guess I've discussed over the past years. And we made some changes about 4 or 5 years ago. We re-looked at the bail bonds that were being set. When I say we, it involved the Superior Court judge, the District Court judge, the magistrates, the DA's office, myself, and the police. And we made some adjustments in terms of the amount of those bail bonds. My concern has been that for persons creating violence with a gun, I think they should pay a higher price before they are allowed to come back out on the streets after the first charge. Now, I understand well that bail is not supposed to be a form of punishment, and that's not what we're looking at. We're just saying that if you're going into our community with a gun, committing a violent crime, accused of that, we just think that your bail bond should be a bit higher than has been in the past. Now, we had a very healthy discussion on that issue. I recommended that the minimum bail should be $300,000, quite a large amount, and it got the attention of persons that I was hoping to get the attention of. We had some healthy public discussions to the credit of Chief District Court Judge Marsha Morris. She convened a setting within the courthouse, and we had law enforcement, people from the judiciary all set in to discuss the whole bail bond piece. Additionally, I had conversations with the city attorney, Patrick Baker, and our senior representative to our local delegation to the North Carolina House, Representative Mickey Mishaw. And as a result of that meeting, we looked at an existing statute, statewide statute, that affected pre-release persons who had committed certain crimes. And Representative Mishaw indicated that he would make some adjustments to that amendment, which in my case, if he's successful in the long term, will meet the concerns that I had about persons who commit crimes with violent crimes with a gun during their first appearance. If that amendment is done, it will certainly satisfy some of the concerns that I have.
Okay, that's a good step then. Mayor, I know another area of collaboration was to improve communication and coordination between the district attorney's office, judges, and law enforcement. How is that going?
The reports that we get, and by the way, the roundtable, the Violent Crime Reduction Roundtable, that consists of the persons I indicated. We meet monthly, and at each of those meetings we have typically a report from one or more persons that are part of that. One of the areas that we have been reporting on were the bonds that we're receiving. The other was a report on how the district attorney and the police department, including the sheriff's department, and the courts are communicating more on issues that come before them, so that if a case comes before the district attorney's office, the police department, sheriff's department is fully apprised of the cases, of the people that are involved, the backgrounds, and et cetera. This is a form of communications I think that probably have been going on sort of haphazardly, but now they've put a formal structure in place where these reports are going on. And if I listen to the comments from the DA's office, from the sheriff's office, from the police department's office, it's been very helpful.
Okay, all right. I know another strategy that you put forth was the police department and the sheriff's office targeting the top 10 violent crime offenders in each district. Where are we with that?
That's very interesting. What occurred is that the police and sheriff identified some of the top violent crime offenders within each district throughout the city of Durham. and basically call them in and had to sit down with them and say, look, we know who you are, we know the things that you've been doing, we know your history, it's got to stop. If it doesn't stop, there are going to be some consequences. I sat in on the meeting, as did the city manager, and as I understand it, some of them have heeded the warnings of the police and sheriff and are going okay, others haven't, and some of them have ended up back in jail. But I think it's a message that they were trying to send, is that we're not going to tolerate the type of criminal behavior that we've seen in the past, and you have an opportunity to change your ways. If you don't, just be prepared to suffer the consequences.
Something that couldn't hurt, just to let them know we're watching, huh? The roundtable also called for a specific focus on northeast central Durham. Why is this area of the city so important?
I think that's a very good question, because what I said in January and what I said again at the meeting we had at Holton is that we were not trying to brand this section of the city as being unsafe. Simply what we were looking at when we looked at trends, when we looked at violent crime that we were looking at relative to that had been created with guns and those that hadn't been created with guns, we saw that there was a higher concentration of that in this section of the city, given the size of it. The northeast central Durham comprises probably about 3% of the total size of the city of Durham. But when we looked at the percentage of violent crime, it was more like 16–15%. And it was something that had worked a few years ago. So we decided to go back in to apply some of the enhanced patrolling that we had used before and see what the results would be. And as we reported, there was pretty much a decrease in violent crime across all sections of the northeast central Durham that we looked at. We looked at the area called the Bullseye, which is part of northeast central Durham. We looked at an area where East Durham Children's Initiative is involved, and we looked at a section which is called the northeast central Durham area. And that, in each of those categories, we saw a decrease in violent crime in those areas.
Okay, sounds like it's working. One final piece, I know that you called for the engagement of the community as well. Why are residents so important in fighting violent crime?
We recognize that in dealing with the issue of trying to reduce crime, that it isn't strictly law enforcement piece alone. I mean, the police, the sheriff, they have their jobs to do. But people in the community know more about their communities than the police do, than the sheriffs do. They're sort of the eyes and ears of the community. And we're just trying to cultivate the type of environment and level of cooperation so that residents will feel comfortable in sharing important information with the police. They might not consider it to be important, but if they have information, they should feel free to share that. And likewise, then the police have an opportunity to act on that. And it's being done in a very safe and secure fashion. But in order for us to really make appreciable changes relative to reducing crime, it's important that the community be a strong partner in that effort.
And Mayor, I have to ask you, a lot of people say, Durham, you focus too much on crime. You talk about it all the time, and talking about it hurts Durham's image. What do you have to say to them?
Well, I think Durham is unique, and I think one of the uniqueness about Durham is that we are a very open, transparent community at all levels, whether it's in education, whether it's in politics, whether it's in government, whether it's in business. Very open, transparent community. I'm also of the firm conviction that you can't solve a problem if you don't first agree you've got a problem, no matter how large, how small the problem is. And if you really want the community's support to be a part of it, it's got to be done in an open fashion. So I say open over again, great things are happening in Durham. Crime is not the thing in Durham. There are a lot of great things that are happening, but it's a part of something that we have to deal with. And in my opinion, the only way you deal with it is you come out and say, here are the problems, we need your help, here are the solutions that we're trying to propose, maybe you have other solutions, and have the discussion.
If there's one thing you'd like for people to remember about this whole effort, what would it be?
That you can make a difference, that you can make a difference in how your community is, and it doesn't have to be at an elected official's position. You can make a difference. That's another thing I like about Durham, that if people want to get involved in this community, there are many ways that they can get involved to make a positive change, and we invite them to do that.
Okay, Mayor, thank you so much for sitting down with me to talk about this very important effort.
Well, it's always good to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. If you have any information to share with the police, please call Crime Stoppers at 919-683-1200. Coming up in the next segment, a lot has happened in the 100 years that Hillandale Golf Course is called Durham home. Now the city-owned course is ready for another long stretch of service to players and the community. Stay with us to learn more about the recent grand opening of Durham's oldest golf course. We'll be right back.
Are you throwing away unused and expired drugs? Stop! Don't throw them away in the trash can, flush them down the toilet, or pour them down the sink. Doing so could cause accidental poisonings, abuse, and harm to our environment. Statistics have shown that dozens of prescription and over-the-counter drugs have been found in the drinking water of an estimated 46 million Americans. Properly disposing of unwanted medication is simple and easy. Just drop them off in the lobby of the Durham Police Department headquarters at 505 West Chapel Hill Street. We've installed a permanent medicine drop box where you can throw away unwanted medications 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The permanent drop box is easy and convenient, and you remain anonymous. So what are you waiting for? We'll dispose of the medicines in a safe and non-hazardous manner, and you'll be keeping Durham a little safer.
For every one of these spots, there are at least 5 to 24 others for you to use. Many folks think that people with disabilities are getting special treatment with these parking spaces, but it's really a safety issue, not a convenience. Many drivers backing out of a parking space can't see a person with a disability. Remember, accessible parking is a civil right built on safety. For more information, call the Americans with Disabilities Act Information Center at 800-949-4232.
Welcome back to City Life. Located on Hillandale Road, just south of I-85, the city-owned Hillandale Golf Course has undergone a massive restoration under the leadership of the city's operator, Amerazil Golf. Joining me to talk more about these recent improvements to the granddaddy of aerial golf courses and why you should check it out is Karl Kimball, co-founder of Amerazil Golf. Welcome, Karl, and thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you, Beverly. It's very nice to be here.
Karl, the very first thing I want to know is why Hillandale Golf Course is called the granddaddy of golf courses in the Triangle.
Well, I think when you come to this planet by the age of 100, being created in 1911, you earn that right.
Oh, yeah.
However, we are one of the oldest golf courses in the state of North Carolina. In 1895, Donald Ross designed a golf course called the Linville Golf Club, and that was the very first one in North Carolina. So this came a few years later, but we are a lot of things to a lot of people. And one of the things we had that's really kind of interesting is a lot of individuals that have learned the game of golf at Hillandale and started out caddying.
Okay.
So I've had individuals from 70 to 80 to 90 years old actually come in and tell me about their stories of caddying. So they caddied and they learned how to play the game, and so it represents a whole lot of things to a lot of people. I actually had a lady come in, and one day she said, what is this thing you're building behind the counter? And it's really a makeshift clubhouse from 1911. You know, it's made of cedar shake siding, and we have a slate roof and a dormer. And she's curious about why there was a roof inside a clubhouse. And I explained to her we're kind of recreating the old clubhouse. And she stood there and looked at it and cried.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she did. She said that she used to play in that clubhouse when she was a little girl.
Yeah, a lot of history there.
A tremendous amount of history.
Yeah. Well, I know you've undertaken a lot of improvements there. Tell us about those improvements and why you did it.
Well, you know, Beverly, we have. The golf course has been in its current location for 50 years. You know, back in 1911 when the golf course was first built, it was up on Club Boulevard. If you make a left at that light or a right, depending on which way you're coming down Hillandale Road, in between the first and second house there, that's where the clubhouse used to be, and the golf course, you know, existed up along Hillsborough Road. But when the golf course was moved in 1961 to its current location, there have not been a whole lot of capital improvements made to the golf course. And over time, you know, greens, they suffer. You know, whether it's, you know, the soil just becomes, well, just not real good for the turf it has, or you have an infiltration of grass, and if you have fairway grass out in the fairway, it's called fairway, but if it gets itself onto the putting surface, it's now called weed. So we had some issues with that, and the overall condition of the golf course in the summertime through the putting surfaces has been a struggle. You know, our superintendent from 40 years, his name is Roy Clark, had struggled with that, and he didn't really have the tools to take care of the golf course in the manner of which he had. all of the resources were very strapped. So now we have a new direction, a new day. The city has taken over the golf course. They've been a great steward of the property, I might add. They did all the due diligence that they need to do. So we need to get the golf course better. So Amerazil Golf came in, and $500,000 later, we resurfaced the greens, redesigned 5 of them, recreated a couple of bunkers, rebuilt a couple of tees, and so it's all better now.
Sounds like a lot of work.
A lot of activity has been going on at Hillandale. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I understand you made some other improvements as well. Tell me a little
we
bit
have.
about those.
We knocked a hole in the clubhouse. Thanks to Nidlick's Grill, we have an operator that's taking care of that. And so we actually have a restaurant in the clubhouse that's never been there before. So it's nice.
Okay. Karl, for players who are watching, they may be thinking of playing a round of golf at the Hillandale Golf Course. They might think, okay, you've undergone all of these improvements.
Yes.
How much is it going to cost me?
Well, thanks for asking that, because we've heard some horrendous rumors that it's going to cost everybody $60 to play golf at Hillandale, and that's not the case at all. In fact, we haven't even raised our rates. We've kept them the same this year. Our rate structure is going to go into review, but our maximum weekend holiday rate is going to be $42. That includes a golf cart. That would be the maximum.
I guess it's pretty good in these parts.
It is. It's very affordable, and it needs to continue to be affordable. The great thing about Hillandale Golf Course is it represents a lot of things to a lot of people, and it offers golf to everyone, and I do mean everyone by the sheer definition of that.
Okay, well, Karl, we're going to take a quick break right now, so stay with me. Okay?
You bet.
All right. Coming
you.
up after the break, we'll talk more with Karl about some very special services offered at Hillandale and how you can get connected with Hillandale Golf Course. We'll be right back.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie. Brown bagging lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feedthepig.org.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we've been talking with Karl Kimball, operator of the city-owned Hillandale Golf Course. Thanks for staying with us, Karl.
Yeah, you bet.
Karl, I know a lot of what Hillandale does is so community-oriented, and you guys give back to the community in a lot of different ways that may surprise some of our viewers. Tell us a little more about your Hearts Club and what it does.
In 2008, I met a little boy in our golf shop. He was bald as a cue ball, and his father didn't have any hair either. But you could tell one had lost their hair and one chose to shave his hair. And so when I asked the little guy about his haircut, his father started to let me know about his illness, and I said, if you don't mind, I'd like to hear it from him. And his name is Henrique Hanud, and his father is Juliano Hanud, who is my partner, and they're from Sao Paulo, Brazil, hence the name of our company, Amerazil, combining America and Brazil. Henrique had leukemia, and he's received now 3 bone marrow transplants. But in the early days, Henrique had not been outside really much. They can't be around large groups of people due to their immune system. But being outdoors is a great place for these sick children to be. So his father decided to get him involved in golf. So we got him out in the golf course and playing, and in fact my staff bought him a set of golf clubs. And it became very healing for this kid. And when he went inpatient, his father continued to come down. And then he brought Rick Spraggins with him one day. And then he brought Rick Spraggins and David Lovell with him one day. And I got my staff together and I said, it appears that there's a need here. Because these people, these families are coming in from all over the country. They don't know anybody. And so in keeping with being a good steward of the city of Durham, we felt like we needed to offer these people an opportunity to have someplace they can call home. So we allow the families and the caregivers and these children the opportunity to play golf at Hillandale at no charge. And most of them, some of them want to just go around the golf course and drive a golf cart. But if they don't have any golf clubs, we'll give them a brand new set of golf clubs. So these kids can have a great opportunity to actually get on a process of healing and have some memories outside of just their little room over on the 5,200 unit at Duke Children's Hospital.
That is awesome. What a touching story.
It's really a great program.
Yeah. What does HEART stand for, by the way?
It's an acronym which means Hillandale Embracing a Really Tough Situation.
Wow, that's awesome. I know you also provide opportunities tailored just for female players, as well as for children who may have a disability. Talk about
We
that.
do. We actually have a women's clinic that we do also, and we have a women's league that women are involved with. And I think last year we had just over 40 women that were involved in that. So it was a great time. I actually was able to take part of doing a clinic one night with Fran James, our director of instruction. We had a hoot. It was just a great time. And we also have, through Bridges Sports and Ashley Thomas, our adaptive golf program, you know, we offer this program to kids or to adults that have been, you know, the difficulties of physical challenges, and we show them that they can actually hit a golf ball, and we've designed a little piece that can go into a golf club to make it adaptable for somebody that actually is sitting in a chair. So they can hit a golf ball straight and true versus, you know, just, you know, do the very best they can with conventional equipment. So we have these great programs in place that they really affect the people of our community.
Great. Okay, so talk to people like me, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Who never even considered golf as a sport. What kind of programs do you have for me?
Well, outside the health benefit,
Okay.
getting outside and appreciating, you know, the great outdoors. You know, we offer obviously lessons, you know, that we have. We do club fittings as well. But the great thing about the game of golf is it's a game of a lifetime, and it becomes, you know, part of your life and becomes a lifestyle. So if anybody's at home interested in playing golf, it is really a great opportunity to start. And we do all of that at Hillandale through lessons and clinics and things. So we make you feel comfortable.
Great. Okay, I might be there then. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm almost convinced. All right.
I'll come and get you.
Okay, all right. So if our viewers want to learn more about Hillandale Golf, what can they do?
They can go to hillandaleGolf.com. That's our website. It's a very informative website. They can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And they can also do what I loved most, is just come out to the golf course and see us.
All right, it is beautiful. I have to tell you, the grand opening was awesome.
Thank you. It was a wonderful day.
Now, what's the most important thing you want our viewers to take away about Hillandale Golf Course, the new Hillandale Golf Course?
Since I made that statement at our grand opening, I've actually given that a little bit of thought. And I'm going to give a little bit more of an unconventional answer.
Okay.
I want people to remember Hillandale Golf Course as an opportunity for them to make a memory. It's a great place. It's been there for 100 years, and a lot of memories have been made, and we have witness to that every day. And so I'd invite anybody that plays golf, that enjoys the game of golf, to come out, be a part of Hillandale Golf Course, and it is an infectious little place. And you might just find that outside your home and your work, you might find the third place you want to come back to.
Wow, that's great. Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay,
Thank you for having me here.
Have to have you back after a year or so.
I'll be glad to come back.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, that does it for this edition of City Life. If you have a comment or a future show idea, please visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. You can also keep up with all of the latest city news by following our Twitter feed. Of course, you can also watch all of our program on demand from the DTV8 webpage and the city's YouTube channel. I'm Beverly Thompson. Thank you for joining me to learn more about City Life in Durham.